welcome to Culture Days 2020. This is Dave Rogers representing and in collaboration with the Brampton Library as part of the local authors showcase. I'm really pleased and honored to be with a creator. And as many of you know from the book 2020 Vision, we're looking for people who are creative, imaginative as a way to get vision, to have clarity, to enjoy life. And as part of the creative place, I have a great privilege to be with a game maker today. Hello, Mr. Joel, and how are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Dave. It's very nice to be with you and very flattering to be called a creator.
Well, again, the first time I met you and the opportunities, and for some of our friends who can see what you've got in front of us, it's a game. Yet before we start the game, I'd like to just bring in this acknowledgement, land acknowledgement. We'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabeg. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties, is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampun Agreement. I'd like to express my gratitude to Mother Earth, Father Cosmos, and allowing us to bring our creativity together in celebrating culture here in Canada, and remind everybody to check out Let's Move the Right Way from September 25th to October 25th, culturedays.ca, to celebrate Canadian culture with people who are authors, musicians, artists, and today, game makers. So Joel, share a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your history, where you're from, and maybe we can segue into that wonderful experience you have with that fella behind you, Mr. Darwin, and the board game that we're looking at.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. First of all, I want to compliment you. I've been on a number of Zoom meetings, and I go to Zoom meetings regularly all over the planet. And I'm very happy to see that you did the land acknowledgement, because sometimes these things are not treated with the seriousness and the respect that they deserve. So this is the first time that's happened, Dave, and I would love to get that. I think I'm going to start to do that on the regular weekly meetings that I attend, because it's very important. So my name is Joel Shuster, but I'll just change my online name, because I am a big believer in this thing called Meetup. And on Meetup, I have another name, just like people have different cultural names sometime. I go there by the name of Joel, but you can call me Joe. So you'll see my name change, and you'll know that it's me if you happen to look for me on Meetup. Just this week, I found a great bunch of people at 7 o'clock in the morning in Florida to discuss philosophy, and a lot of them were from England, and we had an unbelievable. So you just never know where you meet new people or people that you share things with that you might have never imagined. So I'm a native Torontonian. I'm not from an Aboriginal group, other than the Torontonians, which are not a much more modern Aboriginal group. And I sometimes jokingly say I'm one of three in captivity, because Toronto is a very international city. People have lived everywhere and come from everywhere, but I don't. I was born here and I've lived here all my life, except for short periods, maybe several months. I haven't really lived any other place for any length of time. And I've always liked creating things, even as a child. I belonged to the North York Woodworkers. That's where some of these boards and accessories got made. And, you know, I just find that it's one of the 4 types of happiness that people can get in life. And when I'm either playing a game, philosophers call that prudential happiness. That's just the flow or enjoyment of doing things that people enjoy or do best.
Beautiful.
And that's about all. I've never been interviewed before, Dave, so you're going to have to help me along here.
Well, that's great, Joel. The idea there that you're a woodcrafter and you like to play games. You had a career, I believe, in numbers, and
Correct?
so numbers are part of your legacy of your growth. And now, as I look at the board, we've got some wonderful numbers. I'm noticing a little bit of what I call sacred geometry.
Wow.
I'm noticing that there's a flow to your creativity, and the fact that you're using Darwin. Where would you like to share in what way did Darwin come into your life?
Well, that's an interesting story, Dave. I first started working on the game Darwin about 5 years ago when there was a member of my family, a close member of my family, who had some health issues that might have been improved by doing puzzles and things. And because these are sometimes genetically, there was a bit of self-interest involved there. I've never been one to do crossword puzzles or Sudoku or things like that. But I started doing some reading and realized this is something very important. It can really help you as you age. So I started playing with different puzzles that I might enjoy and that I might actually do. And I thought that, playing with myself too much, I get bored, just me and a scrap of paper. So I really need other people. I'm much more social than perhaps many people who are more content to just thrive on their own. So I developed a game. And initially I saw it as a two-player game. And then I decided that maybe more people could play. So I jiggled the rules around and made sure everything worked out if there were multiple players and developed processes. And I was in Florida at the time in a place called Naples, which is in the south of Florida. And I used to go to a meeting there where people would come and have lunch together at a chosen restaurant. It was a Chinese buffet, great food. And I would go there once a month. They would meet up once a month. And for me, it was a way to meet local people, find out, where's a good barber shop? How do you do things here? I met people from all over the world. And I did that for a number of years. I usually be down there for about 3 months, maybe 4 months, some winters. And consequently, I would go 2 or 3 times a year. Sometimes I'd have to miss one because it was a conflict. Anyway, they were talking about a barbecue. I don't know if you know it or not, but there's a whole group of people around the world that celebrate Charles Darwin's birthday. I had never heard of that before, and I started doing some research and I found out, yes, there are really thousands of groups around the world that hold Darwin birthday parties. February the 12th is his birthday. So in February, they would have a meeting, a barbecue, but I'd hear them talking about it at lunch, and they wouldn't have it at a restaurant. They'd have it at somebody's private house, like a backyard barbecue, at least this group. This year, I've been invited to show the Darwin game in Sacramento, California, because they have a Darwin birthday party, and they heard about Darwin. Anyway, I went to the Darwin birthday party, and the game didn't have a name in it. In fact, didn't even have a board. Like, there was just a board with holes drilled in it with a hand drill. They weren't even, and it didn't really look like much, and it wasn't. And I couldn't get anybody to play it. It looked too rough. Plus, there's a whole social hierarchy involved with game playing, especially among men. Women are less so, but men see game playing as a bit of a way of ranking themselves socially. That's why men are the ones that play lacrosse and soccer more so than women. Women are getting into it, but so anyway, I went to the meeting. I think one lady tried it briefly, and then everybody said they would try it, but the whole thing ended before anybody would. And I went back actually another year, and it was pretty much the same performance. So I realized there was more going on here that met the eye, and kind of abandoned that idea, but the name stuck. I said, if I can't get anybody to play the game here, what can I get out of the game? Why don't I just call the game Darwin? you've got your X chromosome, your Y chromosome, and right in the center, we have Darwin's next generation. And that's the one unique place on the board that affects the play. And for some reason, whether it's the focus or the lighting, the number doesn't appear on that. That should be an 8. So they're basically, the idea of the numbers is so people can play it at a distance and they can play it across time. If you've ever seen these master chess players, they have letters and numbers in every board. And I discovered that there are people who play chess who don't even keep a note of it. They keep the whole board in their mind. Well, I have a tough enough time keeping all 8 or 9 spaces of each side of a Darwin board in my mind, but after 5 years, I can pretty much do it. But I put the numbers down in case people want to do it another way.
Super. So share a little bit. That's excellent story. I love it because it's something that I when I'm teaching or coaching, we use a process that suggests that your greatest wealth is created not at the first interaction, not the second interaction, but the third interaction. And so when you go to these global meetups, it's you meet a group of people. It's not that they're going to refer you to somebody. It's the impression that you make from the third step removed. And the third step removed is when our greatest wealth is created. So
Yeah.
it's this consistency, it's this curiosity, it's this persistence. And so I like that this is probably the 10th iteration of Darwin or the 20th iteration of Darwin, and it's continuing to make progress. And then you've got that wonderful picture behind you that for some people who are really connected to nature or into elevating our awareness of our fellow animals on the planet, there could be a nice rallying call. And I'm also involved with an organization called Buy One, Give One that really promotes the idea whenever you buy something, you can make a contribution to somewhere else in the world. And so there's many ways for you to collaborate, to share, and to encourage people to do one really key thing, which you shared, is neuroplasticity. And that's the whole idea of playing a game or thinking or remembering. It creates new neurons. It allows us to actually deal more effectively with the aging process. So good on you, Joel. It's a great story. And as we are interviewing or talking, some of the nice themes of the story will continue to unfold. And that storytelling is something that's so beautiful in the social entrepreneur journey, in the entrepreneur journey, and also in building our legacy. So thank you so much. Let's dive into it. Let's share a little bit about the way we would play the game and maybe play for a little while. People can see it. And then we'll also add some ways for people to connect with you moving forward.
Okay, that's great. Now, I went to so much trouble to prepare yesterday, so I wouldn't lose the flow, and I almost misplaced the playing pieces. So just to let you know that Darwin, and just a few days ago, when you talk about different cultures and different people, I went to a metal worker to make a portable game. So if you're going on a plane flight or someplace like that, you can put it in your pocket, play it anywhere. And it was amazing the help that I've found from people. I went to a metal shop to cut these pieces, and the man there was so excited, and his staff, and they're from a different, very unique culture. They speak a different language. In fact, I've traveled quite a bit. And speaking of culture days, these are people living in Ontario that speak a language called Pennsylvania Dutch. And I'd never heard it spoken before. And I kind of pride myself, even if I don't know what people are saying, that I can understand what they're saying. But this was one of the few cases I couldn't even recognize the language. But they were so kind as to prepare some samples. And then I went to a plater to see how these could be plated or not. And he's now in the process of plating them. So you're right at the leading edge, or maybe the bleeding edge of the latest in Darwin. So the first thing to do in playing a Darwin game is, like most games, decide who goes first. And the beauty of Darwin is that unlike other games, it doesn't require any secrecy. So whatever we see, if it's private, it's kept only between your ears. So your strategy, your next move, whatever you have to do, anybody can, we could have 1,000 people watching us play here, and that's what I'm in the process of trying to do, is arrange a tournament. And the way we decide who goes first is to roll 6 die, okay? So I'll roll for you if that's okay, Dave.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, so then we just, if you're a little one, you get to count the numbers and do a little bit of math practice and double
24.
check. 24, you're right, you're fast, you're fast. Because a lot of people really hesitate even at that. And I've got 10, 12, 17, 20. Okay, so that means that the choice is yours, being to go first or last, and also you get to pick which color die you want to use to represent your score. So pick a color.
Okay, you can go first and I can be red.
Okay, so you're red, I'll be blue, you'll go first.
Nope, you'll
I'll
go
go
first.
first, sorry. I was trying to play it in pirates mode here, you know? Because I think I may have mentioned that in some other games, the advantage is not to the first, but is in fact to the second to play. And
that's in business often too. If there's a first movers advantage, yet there's also the observer's advantage. So
yeah.
Well, most things in life are like that. Is that there's a yin and the yang. There's a duality dance. So it's that's why I like your board. It's triggering a lot of sacred geometry for me, or code learning, and that's it's really visually attractive. I think you've done a great job with the woodcraft, and then you've got the layers, and now you've got more little magical pieces coming out.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a white piece in the center with the number 1 up, and that tells us what inning we're in.
Great.
So a Darwin game can be played as either a short game, like a small cup of coffee, or what they call a little league game. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but in the little league, they play 6 innings of a baseball game.
I was thinking 5 innings. Yes.
Well, maybe it's slightly different places, or 9 innings in a full game. So a full
Correct.
game is 9 innings, but we can just do 1 inning because people can learn the whole game in 5 minutes. Super. Just by playing 1 inning.
Let's do that, because that would be a great intro for people. It's also a great way that we can create this as a little video to share with people, to intrigue them, and maybe get a few people interested to contact you and look for future collaborations, join your upcoming tournament, and again, as a way for awareness.
Well, I'd love, we're looking for 8 more people to join the tournament, but there's a cost involved in that.
Super.
And we're trying to raise some money for the Smile Foundation.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to go on, as you can see, there's an X side of the board and a Y side of the board. I'll be yellow and you'll be white, so I'm going to X1. Now you can go anywhere you like on the board except the center. You can only go in the center when it forms 3 in a row. So on a subsequent move, if I were to go here, then on the following move I could take the center, but I don't have to.
And is the okay? So I'm white.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll go to X7.
X7. Okay.
No, that's Y7, isn't it?
Sorry, did I go the wrong side? Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to cheat, although you can do that too. That's when you're playing in pirates mode.
Right. And so then I better go in the, I can't go in the middle, or can I go in the middle?
No,
it's not to block you, is it?
Go anywhere except where I am, or
okay, X5.
X5. And I will.
And I will go to, I think I understand it a little bit better now. Let's go X3. And X6. Now, is there only one move left, or I guess not? So I can
No,
go.
we got to fill the whole board.
I see. Okay.
So any place where we can still visually see a number is still an open space,
I see.
and the die is open. But the way we've played the game thus far, you're not in a position to take the center, but I am.
Right.
But because I'm the only one who can take it, strategically, I'm not in any rush because I know you can't take it.
Right. Okay. Then the X2. Oh, sorry, Y2.
Y2.
And then Y8.
Okay, we've almost finished the
One
first
round.
game.
And Y3. And Y4.
Now, there was really no choice for you, as you realize, I think, because you couldn't take that pay, so you were actually forced to take that one. That's your last move. And I have no choice because I have to take the center because I have the right connection of 3 in a row, and I'm obligated to take it. So if the board had played out in such a way that I couldn't take it, then I wouldn't play my last piece. The center would have been unoccupied.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we come to the last part of a game, which is called equalization. So if we look at the board, I have 9 yellow pieces and you have 8 white pieces. Mm-hmm. So in order to finish the game, you get the choice to remove any one of my pieces off the board, and then we score the board.
And how is scoring the board?
By seeing which shapes our colored pieces make. If we have a triangle, that's 1 point. So for instance, this configuration for yellow would be 1 point.
I see.
3 in a row would be 3 points. And this one would be 2 3 in a rows if they're all in place at the end of the game. So it'd be 3 here and another 3 there, 6 points.
So I guess the smartest thing would be to take away the middle one.
Probably that's as good a move as any. That will lose me 6 points.
Right.
And no, actually it'll lose me 6 points, plus it'll lose me this triangle, which would be 7 points. Right. But I don't know if that's going to be enough for you to win the game.
Oh, no, I think you've won the game.
Okay, so then
let's try scoring it now. So that I see you have a triangle, you have a line, you have a line, you have a triangle.
Yep.
So that's what I would see.
I think I have 10 points.
Okay, so
I have 3 for a line here and 3 for another line here. So that's 3 and 3 is 6.
Right.
I have a triangle here is 7. Triangle on the other side of that is 8. Triangle on this side is 9. And a triangle here is 10.
Super. Okay. And
you have 3. No, you have 3 in a row down the side. So that's 3.
Yep.
And you've got 1 for the triangle is 4. So
excellent.
I have won this inning.
Excellent.
But remember, it's not over
Until it's
until
over.
it's over.
That's right. No,
And
Joel, that's fabulous. It's a really it's a multi-level thinking game. It
absolutely.
it's a it's fun. It's interactive. It's it's good to. It's actually, I guess the word is, it's simple to play and to
And
educate.
learn.
Yet, yeah. So fabulous. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so now what we would do is we would take my playing piece and put it on the board with the number 1 showing up. On the other boards, we have cutouts as a place to place the die and keep the score. So the expression is, I'm on the board with a score of 1. We're at the top of the second inning. So we turn the counter dice up to number 2, and we reverse the playing pieces. So where I was yellow last time, you'll be yellow this time. And then you do the second inning.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. Is there, what would be 1 or 2 ways that people can reach out to you? What are you looking for as you move forward? It's October. Do you have a 6-month dream wish or list that you'd like to see
Well,
unfold with Darwin?
well, I'm not that planful in terms of a 3 or 6 month schedule, but I would hope that 8 people somewhere in Canada, 8 more people, we have 2 already, would find in their budgets the ability to invest $101.03 or 4 cents or 5 cents and join in a tournament. And in that tournament, I haven't perfectly worked out how we'll run the tournament, but I have friends who are big baseball fans, and they're going to explain to me how baseball does it. So maybe Darwin can do it the same way. And they're going to play together online because we can't get together in person, but just like we've done, and hopefully we'll have an overseer. The one that emerges as the best in that group of 10 will get, of course, a game and $500. But the kicker is, like the buy one, give one, as you can do the math, 10 for $100 is roughly $1,000, but we have an anonymous donor who says if that person will give up their $500 prize, he or she will make a $2,000 donation to the Smile Foundation. The Smile Foundation does facial surgery for children in the developing world who need cleft palate or other surgery. And I think that would be a wonderful thing. So I hope that the person who wins it will do that, but they're not obligated to.
Well,
And that will hopefully get more people interacting with each other. And it's something that you can do across borders, across the world online. And because there's so little language involved, you know, other than a little bit of counting, which is common to every language, you can pretty much play with anyone, anywhere.
well, very good. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to share today during Culture Days for Canada. Maybe we have another game that might be exported. We probably can talk about it in future. That Canada has built some games that have gone all around the world. So hopefully there's an opportunity to share this with more people. And thank you so much for your time today on behalf of the Culture Days Canada 2020. I appreciate your time and energy. And thank you very much, Joel.
Okay, I've put my email in the chat box. I don't know how to display that. I guess I could do a screen share, could I?
Maybe you can just say it slowly also, and we'll put a little marker on the video. So what would be 1 or 2 ways for people to reach you?
Okay, I'm very old school. All I use is email. So I can't talk to a whole bunch of people on the phone. I don't have a big organization here or anything like that. But my name, maybe what the easiest thing for me to do is I'll put my email on my name here, and then people will be able to see it. So I'll just changed my name from Joel, but you can call me Joe, and you can find me that way on Meetup if you want to send me a message that way. So I guess there's two ways, and I'm old school, so it's joelshuster@hotmail.com. It's just as simple as that. And if anybody reaches out to you, Dave, I know you have my email and you're in contact with a lot of people and you're much younger and smarter and better looking and all that stuff. Don't hesitate to share my email. If they turn out to be people that I can't communicate with, I'll stop communicating. I hope it won't be a big problem.
And
But
so
really, if there are 8 more people in the world, well, preferably all in Canada, I'd love to hear from you. If you've got $100 to invest either in a child's future or a board game or a prize, I'm happy to have you on board the Darwin community.
All right. And you get a special date with Joel and Darwin in the back there to participate in the upcoming online competition tournament of Darwin. So thank you very much, Joel.
Yeah, and of course you'll play with each other as well and your own family. You can be part of a church group, or you don't have to be an individual, but you can only have one individual designated from your group to play for you in the tournament. So if you got 10 people who each have $10 and want to join the tournament, pool your resources and pick someone.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much. You have a great day, a great week ahead, and wishing everybody a fantastic Culture Days 2020 throughout Canada and around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.